Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we'll see about the Python introduction and some of the fundamental aspects of the Python. So first of all, you can simply go to the search tab and search for IDLE. Open that IDLE, which is the IDE of a Python, which is the development package or development editor. So first of all, you can see this triangular bracket over here where you can just write your commands. So from here, you can write any arithmetic or logical expression. So let me say 5 plus 7, and if I just hit enter, you'll get the output of 5 plus 7, which is your statements. So this is your statement, and you can see the output which is just printed inside this cell. So this is cell, and you can write your command over here. So first command in Python is a print command, which will just print anything you just pass inside this parenthesis. So let me say hello world, and if I just hit enter, you'll see hello world has been printed in this terminal with this print command. So print is the command which will just print the value that is just passed to this print method. So print is inbuilt method in the Python. So next thing is you have to just open this file and press on this new file. You will get this new window, and this is your script. So script is going to be those file where you can just write multiple line of code. So you can say that hello is one command, and you can say something like print 3445, the next command. So in the case of shell, you can only execute one command at a time, but in the case of a script, you can execute multiple commands. So you can see over here we have the print hello and the addition in the same file over here, which cannot be in the case of the shell. So next thing is to save this file. So I'll say that this is demo file, and just make sure you have to just pass py extension, which refers to the Python extension. So next thing is to go to the folder where you want to save. I want to save in the desktop, and let me just save over here. In order to execute this Python file, you have to simply press F5, and you will see the result that is printed in this cell, which is saying hello and 79. So this was the output of this Python script. So in this lecture, we saw how we can just execute our command in this Python shell, and if you have multiple line of command, you have to create the new file which is called the script, and you can just inject all of your code inside there, and you can save it and run pressing F5, or simply go to this run and run this module with F5. And you can see the same output over here saying hello and 79. So this was the quick introduction about this Python shell and Python script. So in the next lecture, we'll see all the fundamental concept of the Python. See you in the next one. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to learn about keywords in Python. So what are the keywords? So first of all, keywords are those type of words that are reserved in the Python. So you cannot use this type of words in your function name or variable name or any other identifiers. So these are basically reserved for their purpose. So Python has the 33 keywords in the Python 3.7, so they are all the case sensitive. So I have here the file here saying that this is the list of keywords. So you can see the false, class, finally. So these are the reserved word that is going to be used for the specific purpose. So you cannot use this file or this identifiers for any other purpose. So this is really important. So you can see these are the keywords. If you want to make, let me say, variable with the def, which is the keyword, and assign something value to it, it is not valid because you cannot use these keywords as your variable name. We'll see about this in the upcoming lecture in the detail, but for now you can see that keywords are the reserved word that cannot be used for any other purpose. They are basically doing only one task that is just defined specifically for their purpose. So you can see this true can be used as a boolean type only. So you cannot make variable name as true or function name as true. So all of these are your reserved word, which are normally called as keywords. So next thing is to see the statement. So let's see the statement now. Statement are basically the what we call, that is the Python interpreter execution instruction. So instruction that the Python interpreter can execute is normally called the statements. So we see the assignment statement now in this lecture. So we'll see that how multi-line statement can be assigned. So first of all, I'll just do some addition over here. 1 2, let me say 3, let me say add more. I want to add more, but I want to go down to this line, so that means I have to make use of this backward slash and go down. After that, I can make use of 4 again, and I can make use of 5, add me 6, and if I just hit enter now, so this is your statement. So if I want to print the value of a, I'll just print a here, and it will show us a 21, which is the addition of all of this value. So if you want to make use of multi-line statement, you'll simply pass here backward slash and just complete your statement over here. So statement is simply an instruction that is going to be executed by your Python interpreter. So next thing is your Python comments. So let me say 5 add me, or let me say 5 multiply with 6. If I say this is going to give us a 30, but if I say hash first and 5 multiply with me 6, then it is going to give us nothing, because this is your comment. So comments are really important. We use this hash symbol for starting to write a comment. So comment are very important while writing a program. It will describe what's going on, so that a person looking at your source code does have the feeling that this code is about the task that is going to be executed. Or basically, if you just put any statement starting with this hash symbol, they are comment, they won't be executed with the Python interpreter. That means this will be ignored by the Python interpreter. So let me just open my new script, and if I save this again, let me say demo.py, and py extension is important, and it is right here. So let me just replace it, and now it is giving us okay. So now if we have here the demo file, so we have 2 demo file, let me just close one. So now if I say that let me just print hello first, and let's go down here, and after that I have to just comment this out. This is print statement. If I save this and execute, then it is going to give us a hello, but not the error of this is print statement. If I just remove this hash, and if I save this, and if I just execute this, it is going to show us invalid syntax, because this is a bunch of a string over here which is created, which doesn't have any meaning. So if you want to give any information about the code, or if you want to just ignore that code to be executed by the Python interpreter, you simply put here hash to represent that this is your comment, and this won't be executed by the Python interpreter. And comments are for programmer, and it is to understand about the program. It is not for the Python interpreter. It will be executed only if you just remove hash. And if you want to give information about the code, you simply put hash and put the comment about what this code is going to do. In this case, this is the print statement that is going to be printed hello in the console. So this is your single line comment. We have a multi-line comment too, so let's see about that. So multi-line is basically, if you type here this is my comment, it is in a multi-line. That means if you just put here single hash, it is going to only comment this single line. Everything you write over here will be commented, but if you just go down here, it won't be commented. So if you want to just make a multi-line comment, all you have to do is put here multiple quotes and just close with these multiple quotes. And now if I save this and execute, this is not going to have any effect because this is a multi-line comment. And if you just remove this one and remove this. If you save this, then it is bunch of a gibberish that will show us invalid syntax. So in this lecture we saw how we can just work with the statements and how to work with the Python comments. So see you in the next one. In this lecture we'll see how to create a variables in the Python. So first of all, open your shell and give the variable name. So let me say name is my variable name, and let me say I want to give the name Sachin, which is my name, inside this double quote. So you can see inside this double quote we have passed something text inside here. That means this is a string. Like in many languages, it may be in the C, C# or Java, we don't pass here semicolon to end the statement. In the case of Python, you'll simply pass nothing over here. In order to see the output, or basically the content of that variable, you simply give the name and it will show us a content. If you want to give or make a integer variable, let me say I want to make the math variable which will contain 8, and if I want to see the content of a math variable, simply pass the name as a math and you will see the content as 8. If you want to give the math variable the same variable but with the different value 8.9, then it will be changed directly to 8.9. So this is the dynamic programming in the Python. That means we can assign any value in the Python and it will be valid, which is not in the case of Java or any other high level languages. And Python being a dynamic type language, it will be just valid in the Python. So you can make different variable over here. So you can make a boolean type. So let me say honest variable, and if I say true, so make sure that T is capital over here, because we have seen in the case of keywords. So this is basically a keywords, and keywords are a case sensitive, so that means this T has to be capital. If you make something like true, this won't be valid. And if you make something like, let me say again, honest is true, this is the boolean type. If you want to see the class or what is this type of honest, and it will show us a bool, which means this is a boolean. If you want to see this type of the math, which is obviously the float, and if I say math type, it will show us a float. So float is basically a decimal, which is basically, you can see the content of the math over here, which is 8.9, which is the decimal. So float is for the decimal. If you want to see the type of the name, you will see it will show us a string. So if I say type of the name, it will give us a class as a string. So type is another function or a method that is going to show us a data type. So we have now studied about the string, which is inside this double quote. Anything that is inside this double quote is a string. If you type something like, let me say, hey, I am, then this is also a string. So anything that is inside this double quote, or it can be also the single quote, hey, hello, everything that is inside this single quote or double quote is your string. Another is your number. So anything that is 5 or 6 or any number, so that is your number. And next thing is your basically this boolean would be true or false. So you can see we have seen a bunch of fundamental data types over here. So let me save this first. So we have a bunch of fundamental data types. So we have seen about the integer, string and boolean in this lecture. We have to explore further data structures in the upcoming lecture, but for now you can see we can also do multiple assignments to the variable. So we have seen how to create the variable. It won't be something like starting with var or starting with integer or starting with string. It won't be in the case of the Python. In order to create the variable in Python, it is really easy. You have to simply give the name of the variable, and let me say I want to create the integer variable having the health of the character to be 90. So this is your variable. So if you want to check the health, the content of the health, you simply pass the name and you will see the content is 90. So this is the way to create the Python variable. If you want the multiple assignment to the variable, that means if you want to create variable a, b and c, if you want to create variable a, b or c, so it should be here a, b and c, and if you want to have the multiple assignment to this variable, instead of just creating one, you can just pass here something like 5, 7, or if you want to just pass string here saying hey, then you can do this. And now if you want to just check the value a, b, c, you can see it is 5, 7 and hey. If you want to see a variable, it is 5, b is 7, and if you see c, it will contain hey. So this is the multiple assignment to the variable, or basically the multiple variable. So we have a rule or naming convention to create the variable in the constants in all programming language, and that is the camel case. So if you want to create the variable name, make sure it makes a sense, because if you want to give the player character name, and if you just create the variable a, and if you say the player name this, so this doesn't make any sense. If you just see a, so it would make sense for you, but if you see that other programmer are using the same code of yours, they won't think that this variable a represents the player name. So make sure that every variable makes a sense. So if you say that name like this, or name of player, and give the player name, this will make really sense. So anyone will see your code will just think like, okay, this is the name of a player, and that will get the more sense to the other coder too, or maybe for yourself too, if you just go to the code back after long time. So next one is to use the camel case. So camel case is really important notation to declare the variable, and it starts with the lowercase. So if you want to say create the name with the my age, so I'll say 89, and if I just print my age, then it is saying 89 over here. So this is your camel case that starts with the small or lowercase, and after basically one symbol or letter, you'll just make with a capital letter. So as to specify, these are the two words. So if you just end with, let me say, my and address, so after this one word, you start with the uppercase for the first letter, and you go with all the lowercase, and you just give your address. So this is the way or convention which will make much more sense, or basically will be more attractive when you just make your variable name. So next thing is to just use the capital letter whenever possible to declare a constant. So if you want to create the pi variable, which will be 3.14, it should be all in uppercase. This is the way to create the constants. So you can also see the gravity. If you see this gravity 9.8, this is your constant, which is in the uppercase, all in uppercase. And never make use of a special symbol in the case of making the variable. So making like my has is and 90, this is not valid. This is not valid in the case of Python. Never make use of a special symbol while creating the variable. So a special symbol can be like this exclamation mark, @ sign, hash sign, or basically the dollar sign. All of these special characters are not valid, or the percentage, modulo sign, this won't be valid in the case of the Python, because all of these had the special meaning in Python. So this modulo is for the division, and this dollar sign and this hash for the comment, this all have the special meanings, so you can't make use of this in the variable name. So next thing is that you do not have to start your variable with the digit. So if I say 9 my name, and if I say hey, this is not valid, because you can't have the variable that is started with the digit. Next one is that we have to put the constants in the separate module, and we'll learn about that in the upcoming lecture. But for now, just remember, for the constants, it better is to make a simple Python file where you can have all of the constant sorted in that file, and we'll make use of that file as a constant file, and we'll import and use in the different file. So these are the type of basics and the naming convention that we have to follow while creating the variable name, and that is to make much more sense while creating the variable and working with the logic in the upcoming lecture. But for now, we'll see about the type conversion. So I'll just open this demo file, and or basically we'll just go with the cell, and I'll show you here. So let me clear this first, or let me just close out and open the new terminal or new cell. And now here, all you need to do is, first of all, let me say input command. So input is going to input you something. So I'll say enter your age. So I'll just say this, enter your age, and let me say that it should be inserted in the variable name age. I have created the variable age, and with this input command, so same as print command, this input command is going to input, because this is also a method that is going to input. So print is basically consoling out, and print input is basically inputting out. Your commands are basically what you just pass here. So if I say enter your age, and if I say 56 is my age, and if I hit enter, and if I say this age, you could see that we have entered here that is integer, but it has reflected out as a string. So I have already told you in the before lecture that anything is inside this double quote is a string, and if you see that is this 56 is the integer. So if I say type, which is the method to check that, if I say 56, then it will get you a string, which is a string. So if I say type only 56, now it will show us a string, basically integer, because this is an integer. But if you just input here, that is 56, the age that was integer, which was inputted as an integer, has been converted into the string, which is done by this input method. So now all you need to do is type conversion or typecast this integer to our string to the integer, because we want 56 not as a string but an integer. So in order to do that, we have the couple of method for the type conversion. If I say is, and now you can see that this is, which was integer, which was a string, has passed into this int method to be converted from a string to the integer. If I hit enter, now this is, which was a string, has been converted to the integer. If you want that back, that is basically I will say is integer and age. So let's go back, and now if I say is now integer, but if you want to roll back to the string now again, you can do something like is str, which is another method to convert integer to the string or anything other to the string. So if I say enter again and see the age, it has been now typecasted to the string again, which was integer before, has been type converted or typecasted to the string. So these are the type conversion method which is done implicitly over here, which is converting integer to the string, string to the integer. We can also do boolean to string in this same manner, and this is the way to just perform some of the operations. In the next lecture we'll see output formatting, and we'll see how format method can be used in the next lecture. See you in the next one. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture we'll see about the formatting techniques of the string and some other operator operands concept in this lecture. So about the formatting, Python uses a C style formatting to create the new formatted string, and that can be done by using the modulus sign. So the modulus sign, that is this operator over here in the screen, is used to format a set of variables that is enclosed by the tuple, which is basically a fixed size list. We'll learn about the tuple in the upcoming lecture, but just remember it is a type of a list which is attached together with a formal string which contains a normal text together with argument specifiers. So let's learn about this and let's see how this percentage yes and percentage d works together. So let's see and let's make a real quick script over here to learn about the formatting. So let me just press Ctrl N to create the new file, which is our script. You can also simply go to the file and create the new file to create the script. And let me just save this file as test.py, which is the extension of a Python file. Let's go to this desktop and save it here. So we want to just create the folder first, which will be the string, and I'll say John is inside this name folder. And now we have to make use of this print method, which is going to print us whatever inside the value is. So here I want to just pass hello, and I'll say hello is, and after that I'll say the exclamation mark or comma maybe, and after that I want to give this percentage yes, which is a specifier over here, which is basically your argument specifier, which is the special symbol which will just replace our name now. So I'll just say that after this, let me just put here again the percentage and the name of a folder over here, which will be name. And now let me just close this print method. So what we have done here is we have just called this specifier, argument specifier percentage yes, which is for the string. If it was case for the number, it would be percentage d. For now it is percentage yes, which is for this zone. So let me just save this and press F5. Then you will see hello it's and zone. So instead of this percentage yes place, so let's go again back to this script now, and if you see the output over here, in the place of this percentage yes, we have just included the name, which is zone. So this is the formatting technique. We have made use of this formatting technique in this lecture by using this argument specifier, which is percentage yes. So let's make another program using this same specifier, but now I'll just say name is re again, and now let me just add another, which is the integer. Here the age is 23, and let me just print again by formatting this. So I'll say percentage yes, which is for this name Hari, and is percentage d for the age, and I'll say years old. So I'm just formatting over here, and now let me just close this with percentage, and now there is a two thing that need to be passed. So we'll just pass inside this parenthesis, that is name and the age. And let me just close first this parenthesis, and let's close this print statement too. So we have now created another program here using the same argument specifier, but now we have included both the string and the integer inside the same print statement. So let's save this now and press F5. Then you could see Hari is 23 years old, which has been replaced in here argument specifier. So instead of this yes, it will be Hari, and instead of this d, it will be 23. So this is basically your specifier for this argument, or basically for this value, name and age. So this is the one way to format the sentence. So there is another way to format this using the format statement. So we are going to do that in this lecture. So let's start this. So first of all, let me just create the script over here. So instead of just creating script, let's go to the cell and let's make a program right here. So I'll say x should be, let me say 89, and y should be, let me say 3. So if I just hit enter, now I have created x value and the y value. So let's print this in by formatting, basically using the string formatting technique. So we have learned by using the argument specifier %s and %d for the string and the number respectively, but now we'll make use of a format method in this section. So I'll say the value of x is, so now if you are using the format method, you have to give these curly braces, and y is curly braces. So instead of these curly braces, now we'll just add this